According to a recent report released by the U.S. Department of Education, most states now have laws that require schools to adopt bullying policies, and efforts to combat school bullying have escalated over the last decade. Segundo Middle School is doing their part by choosing to host Challenge Day in an effort to teach students about compassion and the power to be the change.
I just hope to understand what people are feeling, and it gives you a chance to know them, what's going on with the life without the bullying and everything, and just help them out and be friends.
I hope to realize that people, they might seem mean, but there's actually a story behind them, and that everyone has a way and we could all be together.
Young people in our schools can face negative judgments, teasing, violence, loneliness, and separation. Challenge Day is designed to wake people up to their power to change this.
We don't have enormous amounts of problems, but Challenge Day kind of focuses on teaching kids tolerance, appreciation, seeing other people for who they are, and not just on the exterior and the interior.
We live in an environment, a cultural environment, where there's just mass separation. So people separate for all sorts of reasons, whether it's about race or class or gender, sexuality, or even more seemingly banal things like the kind of clothes you wear or what you listen to on your iPod, or whether you're like a goth or you a jock and things like this, which is really important at school. Our goal is to create a world where there's more connection.
The Challenge Day leaders show the students a couple different ways they can support one another. One, through the use of the symbol for love in sign language. And two, by encouraging hugs, since studies have shown that they impact both your physical and mental health. Getting a large group of teenagers to open up and talk about their feelings sounds like a challenge in itself. The Challenge Day leaders actually say it's the opposite.
What we've discovered is the higher we raise the energy, the sillier, the goofier, the more over the top we get, the safer it is later for the students to get real and talk about what's going on for them.
People all have heart, no matter how tough and hard they act. People really do. As human beings, when we actually have the chance to be compassionate with each other, that's when you see miracles.
In fact, the first half of the day is made up of games that begin to get the students out of their comfort zones. They begin to separate from their friends and interact, dance, and sit next to those who they most likely aren't talking to on an average school day.
In the beginning, you're nervous, but then in the middle, you kind of realize what's going on with everybody. And then at the end, it's just fun.
Sometimes we see things happen like students who come in who are really reticent or hesitant to participate, or who just have social anxiety and can't deal with being in a room with 130 people. But by the end of the day, they're reaching out to people, they're sharing, they're hugging people. They feel totally stitched in to the whole fabric of the day. That's pretty amazing to watch.
One of the keys to the workshop is the Challenge Day formula for change, which is to notice, choose, and act. First, notice how people are treating one another. Then choose the school and life of your dreams. And finally, take action to make your dreams a reality.
Dream up your ideal school. Dream up your ideal life. When you come up with a vision for what you really want, then we can move into acting on it.
One by one, with much conviction, the students stood up and stated their goals out loud.
I am an aeronautical engineer.
Okay.
I am a U.S. national women's soccer player, and I'm married to Justin. My name is Cameron, and I am a military. I am a U.S. military Marine defender.
One of the most powerful activities of the day is called Cross the Line, where the leaders call out different categories pertaining to negative things that have happened in a person's life that they've had no control over. The leaders state this activity is so impactful because kids see their friends, their classmates, even people they don't like, crossing for the same things. And the students can literally see that they are not alone.
Please cross the line if you've ever felt hurt or judged because of the color of your skin. Please cross the line if you've ever been teased or hurt because somebody thought you were fat or too big. Where did we learn to judge people's bodies? Where did we learn to be so mean?
Another transformational part of the workshop is the small group sharing session. Each person is given the chance to voice any current struggles in his or her life. They start this process by stating the phrase that this organization is now known for, "If you really knew me."
If you really knew me, I lost a cousin to drugs because of suicide. That's why I hate drugs.
If you really knew me, you'd know that Franklin's one of my best friends.
The Challenge Day leaders say there are many different issues that kids are facing these days, But the common denominator is that we live in an environment that trains us not to speak about our feelings, discouraging it particularly for boys.
If they're not talking about it at home, which is usually the case, and they come to school and it's like, there's a test, there's this, there's that, there's no space for them to talk about these really heavy issues. So we create that space in this room.
After the workshop is completed, El Segundo Middle School intends to create a space where kids feel they can continue to share and support one another.
We have a follow-up program called Be the Change Movement, which is the follow-up to Challenge Day, where you keep the message alive.
Challenge Day has been an inspirational day full of positive messages and life skills that have the potential of impacting these students' lives forever. My favorite message from the workshop was a quote from Gandhi: "Be the change you wish to see in the world." For El Segundo TV, I'm Molly Perlman.
Be the change!